I just want everybody to have what we have. My name is Doug Marchand, and this is my story. I was always a hard worker, worked in construction, building bars, doing different things, working on houses. One day, someone introduced me to methamphetamine, to meth. I actually fell in love with it because it enabled me to work harder. I started to hang around with the wrong people. I decided to manufacture and distribute meth. That was a great idea, right? It wasn't a short year after that on a Monday afternoon where I was cooking meth, about 15 police officers pulled up and they raided the house that I was cooking meth at. First time ever getting in trouble, they sentenced me to 95 years in prison. When I was in prison, I got approached by different inmates, and they told me about this program called Kairos. The year 2000 or 2001, I went to Kairos, and I was saved. But the Lord started changing me. Even in prison, you can change. I stayed in prison for 9 years. When I got out, my brother and his wife was going to Colonial, so that's where I started going. I started coming to Colonial. I immediately fell in love with the worship. The contemporary worship is why I really felt it through the music. Pretty much just went in and out for 6 years. I sat in one of the pews and left out the front door, was not involved. I didn't get to experience what all a church family is about. It wasn't till one of the former staff members basically said, "I'm starting a small group and you're going to be in it." It's where I met my wife. I met my wife here at Colonial. So when Gina and I got involved in the church, it not only changed our Sunday church life, it also changed our home life. We were encouraged to actually spend more time in the Word. We started doing different studies together. We each had our own baggage from different relationships. Well, there would be phone calls from the church, different people that we knew that knew we were going through struggles, and in turn they would call us when they had struggles. It was just like being part of a family. October 28th, 2019, our son passed away. I don't know how we could have done it without our church. The very first people I reached out to was my small group, asking for prayers. They were very supportive in reaching out. We had people stop by from our church, food, people we didn't know just came out of the woodwork. They helped with the funeral, everything, just the loving community that they showed us through that was amazing. But we did not have that until we actually started getting involved. If you just walk in and walk back out, how could anyone know your burdens, or how could you ever live in community or be part of a family if you just come in and walk back out? Once you become involved in church, essentially you'll be part of the family, just like your family at home. You'll have people there that'll support you, love you, will help you through the bad times as well as the good times. It's just amazing how God's love, redeeming love, works, because in 20 short years, I came from an addicted methamphetamine cook out of prison to being a loving church family with an amazing wife, a Proverbs 31 wife that's there with me, walking this journey with me in just less than 20 years. Guys, I can tell you that one of the hardest things is stepping out of your comfort zone, but to get into a small group, to get involved. It's the hardest thing. It was hard for me. It took me 6 or 7 years to finally do it. Once you do that's my biggest advice to you, is just to get involved, to be on a team, to get in a small group, to reach out, just not to sit in those pews and walk out every Sunday. I love Colonial because this is where I met my wife. This is where we actually started journeying on our walk together, getting closer to Christ. I love Colonial because this is where my daughter gets godly women pouring into her every weekend. I love Colonial because this is where I learned and actually started living for Christ, started growing. I love Colonial because it's where I learned that if you actually step out of the pews and get involved, your walk with Christ will be so much better. My advice to anybody seeing this video is to step out there on faith and just get plugged in your church environment. Get plugged into Colonial.